Hey dudes, what's up? I have been on quite the long, strange trip. Recently, it has been sort of quickening, particularly in the last month. Uh, the journey which I am on is one, I suppose, of spiritual awakening, which takes forms in many, many ways. It all started a couple years ago. um, I met this girl. She's no longer in my life, and I've kind of come to terms with that. But when we met, she was much more empowered than she is now, to say the least. She really opened my mind to a lot of new possibilities. But as I started pursuing personal growth and spiritual enlightenment, our paths sort of diverged. And I chose to dive deeper into spirituality and the spiritual living. And I suppose she chose another direction. Happens sometimes. Anyways, I went through a point a few months ago where I started kind of isolating myself from everyone and everything. I like to tell people that I live under a rock. I don't actually live under a rock, obviously, but I tend to isolate myself from the world and world events, especially at times of rapid change, to say the least. So, for those who don't know, when you are on the spiritual path, there are many phases. Another YouTuber who I like to watch, named Victor Odo, likes to kind of highlight what some of these phases are, just to kind of help people understand the process, and that there are sort of steps to the process, and the steps aren't always in the same order. But knowing that there are steps, and that you can sort of find yourself aligning with a certain part of the process, it brings clarity, and reassurance that you're not going crazy, you're just growing and changing. A lot of the times when you're awakening, you feel quite crazy. And a lot of the things that happen can be quite crazy and unexplainable. Many of the things in my life, since my mind started opening a couple years ago, have been quite miraculous and unexplainable. You can check out my last video for the most recent unexplainable happening. But when you hit a certain point of spiritual growth, it's not uncommon to start cutting yourself off from people and taking time for yourself. Not because of anything selfish or anything like that, but it tends to happen that, whether you realize it or not, the things in your life are contributing to your unhappiness. Things in your life contribute to the way that your life is presently. And sometimes things in your life are not in vibrational resonance with the reality which you prefer to experience. And so the universe has this way of dealing with it, by means of pushing people away from you, not necessarily in an aggressive way, but sometimes you just drift apart from people and they fall out of your life. Or sometimes you lose things or break things that you thought were quite important to you, but looking back, you realize that these things actually were quite a detriment to your well-being. And so this girl was one of those people who was no longer in vibrational resonance with the reality which I prefer to experience. And that was quite a heartbreaking realization, because I really did care about her. But that's not the point. It was around that time where I was entering the hermit phase, and it wasn't until after we broke up that I realized how quite perfect the timing of our breakup was. You know, it led to a series of chance encounters and random events that turned out quite amazingly. You know, it ended up in a concert that was really awesome, and many, many great, awesome stories, which I can share on this channel now, if you care to hear about them. But after the hermit phase, there's a period of sort of integration where you learned things in that hermit phase, and now you're trying to apply them to your life. And that was where I was at about a month ago, I suppose. And coming out of that integration, things start to speed up, they quicken. Victor calls it the quickening phase. And so I have been experiencing this quickening for, I suppose, a month now. And I've been meaning to journal about it, but I just have not been able to find it in me to pick the book up and write down everything that's been going on. So I figured this would be a better place to do it. In that roundabout way, let's get into the story of what it is that I've been experiencing in this quickening. There are particular details of this quickening which I prefer not to disclose. But in summary, basically, I've been exploring myself. Not in like a creepy sexual way, but like exploring who it is that I think I am. One of the things that I think I am now is a person who calls themselves Little Buddha, the modern shaman. I think that that's a title that suits this new version of me quite well. So it started around the full moon. I was hanging out with my friends, and we were doing our thing. And one of them asked me to tell them a story. So I decided to tell her the story of me, my life so far. I can bring that story to this channel if anybody cares to hear it, but it's far too long for one video at least. And I'm already very far into this video apparently. So if you'd like to hear the rest of the story up until now, I'm happy to share that. Just let me know. After we kind of went over the story so far, there was a period of what I call rapid transformation, where I have been letting go of things which are not me, or things which were me but no longer are me. Sort of removing the shade of over the light. In many ways, I suppose, by that respect, I have been my own guru. But I've had many other gurus, you know, people in my life every day, and YouTubers like Victor Odo and Aaron Dowdy, who I watch. Infinite Waters, Diving Deep. So this week, the quickening sort of hit another level. And I have been experiencing magic in almost a day-to-day basis. It occurred to me that when me and my ex-girlfriend were traveling, we experienced magic on a day-to-day basis. But because we intended for it, and it happened every day, it didn't really seem like magic. It was just our daily existence. It was our natural reality. I thought that point in particular would be helpful for people who care to watch my videos, because you, watching this video, can experience magic as your everyday reality. You are capable of doing things which are magical and unexplainable. Just because I know this because I did it, and I consider myself to be a normal person. I suppose the jury's still out on that one, but I consider myself to be fairly average, and I experience magic on a day-to-day basis. So you can too. I've been having a lot of difficulty collecting myself, particularly over the last couple of weeks. I'm finding it very difficult to be present. Perhaps some of my day-to-day activities have something to do with that. But I have the presence of mind to realize that I'm not fully present, and I have been developing the practices which ground me and bring me back to this world, I suppose. So that's what's going on in my life right now. I don't think you guys need any particularly more than that. I just felt like making a video to kind of catch you guys up and keep the flow going. I have a few more videos, ideas for videos. I'd love to hear what you guys think of my ideas. I could be making stories about who I have been and what I was in the past. If you're interested, I could make a few videos of that. Or there's stuff that I'm learning about auras and tarot cards. I'd be happy to share. Different philosophies I'd be happy to talk about, like the Middle Way or Aristotle's virtue theory. These are very center to my personal philosophy. I could also talk about the strange sort of, I suppose, spirit world things that have been happening in my life. There are, like I said, many things I could talk about. I haven't quite decided what's next, but leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think, and maybe that'll help me decide. That's it for today. Subscribe if you want to hear more videos and stories of who I think I am and what's going on in my life. I'm going to start doing premieres for these videos, so it'll be in the afternoon sometime. If you want to get the notification of the video before the video comes out, just click on that little bell notification bell down there, and YouTube will do the thing, and it'll tell you that, hey, I've planned to put out a video. I think the way it works is when you get that notification, I have already uploaded the video, and I'm just letting it sit until a better time of day. Yes, so subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give me a like if you like this video.